for Medical Science and Technology, TIMET, who will give us an insight into their incubators initiatives. Mr. S. Balram, Scientist G and CEO of Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology, TIMET, has been instrumental in establishing technology incubation and innovation ecosystems for medical devices and biomaterials. His leadership has led to the successful setup of SCT IMST TIMET, a pilot manufacturing facility, and the Prayas Center for Prototyping. Notably, he played a key role in fast-tracking technology transfers during the COVID-19 pandemic, ensuring rapid deployment of critical healthcare solutions. Sir, please.
Actually, I'm quite delighted to be here for two reasons. One, traditionally, Kerala Science Congress is actually a most important event for the researchers of the state of the Kerala, where they discuss science. But today, I see that it's not all about science. It's also about the business of science. The business of science is also being discussed. And second reason is at least half of the seats are filled up, which shows that there is an interest amongst you people to know more about startups, entrepreneurship, etc., etc. In spite of the fact that there are several other venues happening simultaneously. Now you heard from the leaders today about entrepreneurship, startups, etc. Many of you may be wondering, I am from a science background. What is it for me? And how do I make use of all these opportunities that is coming up? Unfortunately, in our education system, if you are a student of science, you are taught all about science, but nothing beyond that. And once you even decide to be an entrepreneur, you are left alone. So it's not an easy job. Very little guidance is available. So forums like this, opportunities for you to learn. So what I'm trying to convey is, how do you create value out of your research? In a way probably you would not have thought. When you are in the pursuit of research, your primary goal is to come up with something new results, new findings, publish it, and probably add to your academic credentials and move forward in a set pattern. Like you do your research, then you do your postdoc, then you get into an academic career. But nobody tells you that beyond that there are other avenues also to create value from your research. Probably it need not be very difficult research. Because of your training, because of your exposure to science, probably there are many occasions where you could get into some insights which could have very great impact. And to convey that effectively, I take this example. Today we are all talking about science, but let us get into some other sphere also. How about some sports? So this is the rugby team of the University of Florida. Rugby is quite popular in United States. Very tough and rough game. So what is it for us? So this was a problem that the coach, the rugby coach observed, that the players are getting exhausted, drained very quickly. They don't have stamina. So he kept wondering, how do I increase the stamina of these players? So over a cup of coffee, he just discussed with the science professors in the university, same university, he was telling that this is a problem which bothers me. And then the professor of science got interested, and he identified the problem statement. So this was the problem statement, that the players were sweating, and along with the sweat, the electrolytes were getting depleted, and there was a need to rehydrate the players. And then they did some quick concoction of sugar and salt mixture in the right proportion that would really rehydrate the players fast. So this small insight, this small experiment did something beyond anyone's wildest dreams. This led to a popular health drink called Gatorade. Gatorade is the trademark of the University of Florida, and this small idea led to an entire industry of sports hydration drinks. And then this is something today like $7 billion industry, and this small work in the lab gave the University of Florida returns in millions of dollars to fund further research. Now you may be wondering, this fine, all this happens only in the West or in developed countries. It's not true. We have very, very inspirational stories right from our own country, and that is what I would like to share with you. Those who have done, who have worked in labs, biological or microbiology or any chemical labs, they would have seen this catalog of high media. High media catalog is there in every lab. They make all kinds of reagents, and there was one microbiologist. He was doing his research in the University of Bombay in the 70s, and since there was no funding support, he was not able to buy the reagents. So he thought, instead of blaming the system, let me solve this problem myself. So he went about using his kitchen, using his pressure cooker and his utensils to make some reagents himself. And then he started using that for his experiments, and he was able to give results which surprised his guide, which surprised his colleagues, because none of them had the funds, luxury of reagents. So they started asking him to provide, and slowly the demand grew. He started giving to his friends, colleagues, to the next university, and with that he set up this company called High Media, which is today the world's top 3 biosciences company, which has a turnover of over billions of dollars. So all this is possible. Within science, if you have a good training in science, if you have exposure to good science, you can develop good business. And today, we are in an age of startups. And as we all know, we hear this word startups quite often. India is the home to, it is the 3rd largest startup community in the world today. And startups are impacting our lives. They are making our life totally different. So what are startups as opposed to traditional business? Are startups same as a business or an entrepreneur? So it's very important to understand this distinction. What is startups exactly? So startups are young companies, new companies. When I say young companies, it does not mean started by youngsters. It means young companies. The startup founders could be very old people also. Like some professor was talking that he is interested. So it could be anybody, young, old, but they should come with an idea for a very unique product or a service, something very novel. So that is very important. And then it has to have some technology in that. So startups, the power of startups is innovation and technology. So if you have this, you could really go forward thinking about a startup. And what distinguishes startups from traditional businesses like the Tatas or the Birlas is that because they are small, they are using the power of technology, they are innovative, they can scale up very quickly. Like the Ubers, something which was started in the lab in United States is there in a village in Kerala also. So they can scale up, they can conquer the world. So that is the feature of startups. And if you are inspired by all this talk here, and you stop and think, should I go for a startup? What stops you? If you honestly think about it, what is it that stops you from being an entrepreneur? Most of you would think it is money. Most of you may think, I don't have funds. I don't have experience. I don't have facilities. I don't have a team. But all these things are actually, you can address them provided you have a very good idea and an intellectual property. So that is the crux of any successful startup. You should have a very unique solution to a problem which needs to be solved in a way which has not been done before. So if you have that, if you have cracked a unique way to solve a problem for which people are willing to pay, people are willing to buy your service or a product, then that is the right time. And that is the only time when you should think about starting up. Because a startup is not a hobby. A startup is not something to keep engaged while you pursue other things. It's not a stopgap arrangement. A startup is something which you should seriously consider when you have a really bright idea. And the second thing is, having idea alone is not what is sufficient. The ability to execute that idea, that's equally important. You may have a very brilliant idea, but if you are not having the skills to execute that idea, then it may be a failure. So these are the two mantras. Have a good IP, have the ability to execute it, and then if you have figured this out, you are ready to start up. And once you're ready, you have been always exposed by virtue of your training. When you get into a research, you are expected to make a research plan, which gives different components of how you are going to execute your research journey. So for a business, you need to have a business plan. And then you realize that most of this is not actually known to you. When you talk about business, you are talking about essentially things which you don't know, like managing money, for example. You need to manage funds, you need to manage money, you need to manage a team. You don't know how to handle a team, how to manage your intellectual property, and all these things. And when you say startup, you have to form a company. And when you form a company, that is a legal thing. And you never knew how to go about doing all these things. You are a scientist. So what do you do? So it is in situations like this, when you are a good scientist or you are a good technical person with an innovative idea, with the passion to do something, but you are clueless about the other skills that you need to take it forward, there is a great platform called incubators. They are called technology business incubators. So these incubators are platforms which are available in most of the good institutions. You heard Professor Sudhir talking about the incubator in the Agriculture University, Dr. Preeti talking about NIT. The Startup Mission has a great incubation support. So these are organizations which help you take that startup plunge and give you all the kind of mentorship in areas that you don't know. To put it in short, an incubator is your friend, guide, and philosopher in your startup journey. So I am here by virtue of being the founder of an incubator called TimeMed. It is technology incubator for medical devices. So this TimeMed was established in Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology, Trivandrum, which is an institute of national importance. And TimeMed supports any entrepreneur or innovator who wants to develop a product in the medical or healthcare sector. So this was started in 2015 with the support of the Department of Science and Technology. And within the institute, we have established facilities where all kinds of support, whether it is physical infrastructure, you need a space, you need some common equipments, or it could be soft mentorship like guidance, how to make a business plan, pitching, raising funds, etc., etc. So in all that kind of areas where you need support, this incubator helps you. So like I said, this is an incubator which was established thanks to the generous support from the Department of Science and Technology and the BIRAC. And the way we support someone who comes with a seed of an idea, he has just a seed of an idea. We identify what is exactly their requirements. We add the necessary nutrients so that the seed germinates into a small plant, then it grows with strong roots, and finally it becomes a fruit-bearing tree. So logically, the startup progresses and the kind of need-based support is given. One thing to remember is startup is a very risky business because you are trying to innovate something. When you innovate, you are trying to do something new. When you try to do something new, you are bound to fail. If you are not trying to do something new, that means you are repeating something which is already known, and that means your chance of success is high. So when you are in the innovation game, and by definition of startups are meant to fail more often than not. So you should be prepared for that. You should be prepared and you should understand that the startup, the chance of failure is very high because you are trying to get into an unknown area. And the prudent thing is, even if you fail, you should fail safe. You should fail without much loss to you. And to facilitate that, we have these incubators, because incubators, when you join an incubation program, your investment is very less. You are not buying a large plot of land, you are not building factories. So your investment is small, and you start your incubation with grants. There are very attractive grants like the Biotechnology Ignition Grant, BIG grant of the BIRAC, or there is a Nidhi Prayas scheme of the Department of Science and Technology, so that even when you are at an early stage, you work with these grants. When we say grants, it means these funds you don't have to repay back, so you're safe even if you fail for a right reason. So my point is, you should be prepared for failures. Don't be obsessed with the idea that the first idea with which you work will give you rewards and you will make tons of money. It's not that. 90% of startups fail. But even when you fail, you learn a lot of things that will make you a better person, that will make you a better employee. You may actually get a good offer, and failed startup founders are also much in demand. So if you are prepared with all those things, then today is the right time. especially for people from science background to consider science entrepreneurship seriously. So this is the physical space that we have set up, and we have people from youngsters and experienced people availing these facilities. And so this is one of the startups which was founded by a very eminent scientist who retired at the age of 60, and after retiring from government service thought that so far in my career I was doing what my organization wants, now I'll do what I want. And based on all that he learned and his expertise in science, he started up a company, and we supported him at TimeEd. And I'm very happy that this startup has been very successful. It has won the Startup India Award, the National Technology Day Award, and many of the awards. But winning awards is not actually the proof of success in a startups. In a startup, you are successful when you generate revenues, when you create a product and a service which sells, which has customers, which has a growing market, and there is an economic return. So this startup has also placed this product in the market. It is generating sales, it is generating revenues. And in a startup, when you are successful, there are a lot of people who want to invest. So initially they started with the government grants, then they got an investment from a venture capital fund, and recently a Singapore-based investor company has come and invested in this, and the valuation they have put on this startup is 80 crores. So it is possible in small towns in Trivandrum or Thrissur or anywhere. Yeah, so in the interest of time, I'm just skipping certain slides, but the point here is that there is an opportunity for you to think beyond science as a career in teaching or academics, and if you have a good innovative mind, you could do well in other spheres also. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask now or later.
Thank you, sir. The floor is open for a discussion. If you have any questions, please post. Is there any question?
Good morning, sir. So myself from pharma background from St. James College of Pharmaceutical Sciences. So, sir, you have mentioned so many opportunities for pharma graduates as well. So few of my colleagues earlier have done research in Sri Chitra Institute. Then you have mentioned in the slide regarding social immersion programs. So I have seen so many social immersion programs launched by Tata, like for screening techniques for cancer. So can you give something regarding that? Any assistance is given for such type of projects? Because our college is having also PharmD course. So they are much specialized in clinical pharmacy. So whether that kinds of programs will help such type of students?
Okay, so before I answer that, I also want to tell that the motive of all startups is not just profits. Social impact can also be one of the motives of startups. There are certain startups which are not actually trying to sell a product and make money. They are more looking at creating social impact. It could be areas like sanitation or environmental pollution, things like that. Now, the social immersion program which I mentioned here is a very unique program of BIRAC, where they give fellowship to life science graduates to undertake an 18 months program to go to the grassroots of the society and find out really unmet needs. Because generally people ignore the rural sector and people ignore what is really needed in the society. So in order to encourage life science graduates to look at the real problems facing the people in the rural or the villages, etc., they have created this fellowship. It's an 18 months fellowship program. So the next fellowship will start probably in a couple of months, you can look out in the newspapers or in the website of BIRAC. There will be a call for this fellowship. And at the end of this 18 months program, the fellowship is 50,000 rupees per month. And then at the end of these 18 months, you are also given a Kickstarter grant of 10 lakh rupees so that you can take that idea forward and form a startup. So this is a very specific scheme of BIRAC. Whoever is eligible, they can apply when the next call is out.
Any more question?
Hello, sir. Myself, I'm an entrepreneur. Actually, please, sir. Sir, actually, I'm developing a product which is a hydrogel patch for intimate rashes faced by women during the time of periods. So the major challenge I faced is to collect the scientific evidence or the clinical trials. It's very costly, and how can we overcome that barrier, sir?
Okay, so you can have startups in any area. Most of the startups, we know what we say, time to market. So the time to market for maybe an IT-based or an engineering product or an electronics-based idea is quick. They can do that because it's not very challenging. But when it comes to life science and especially medical products, there is an entry barrier. In medical ethics, what they say is first do no harm. So it's very important to prove the safety of those products. The product, even if it's a small patch, it should not create any harm to the user. So to establish that, you need to validate it scientifically. There's a process, it is time consuming and it's challenging. And you can't put your money into it. So there are certain schemes, again BIRAC understands that. So they have certain schemes. These schemes are very competitive, but you have to apply for that. I think even Startup Mission has got a research idea grant. It is not easy. If you have decided to pursue that, you have to go through that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for the insightful talk. Now I request Dr. A. Sabu, Member Secretary, KCST, to hand over our token of appreciation and gratitude to Mr. S. Balram.